how have you been meeting this moment, and how is this moment changing your work or your relationships or Netflix?
Well, I've been doing a lot of breathing, breathing in, breathing out. No, seriously, a lot of meditation just to stay present at this time because the urgency is real. And we could use a lot more support no matter where you are in any company, because when an enormous number of people wake up to the reality of inequity, it's a lot of work to try to address their curiosity, their concerns, the way they interact with others. So one of the things though that I'm very excited about is that we can talk about justice again. Remember, like when this diversity stuff all started, it was around civil rights. It was around what is the right thing to do. It was around morality and so forth. Then we had to try to get rid of that. And then we started remarketing the concept, right? And so it was like diversity and it was inclusion and so forth. And now we get to talk about equity, and we get to talk about justice, and we get to talk about social justice within a corporate environment. One of the things that I am committed to at this time is for us not to slip back. And we started to lean into discomfort. And I really want to encourage people to continue to do that by saying what is true. And something that Ken said really reminded me of a friend of mine, Debbie Irving, who's written Waking Up White. And she said, this is an amazing time for white people because Black people are saying out loud for the first time how they truly feel. And that is a gift for white people because we have spent a lot of time taking care of white people, which kind of puts them in the position of not knowing what they don't know. One thing that's worked pretty well for us is that we created, and I think a lot of companies did, but it was really our response to COVID because our team was planning to go all over the world and do things, and then we couldn't go anywhere. So we decided to create an inclusion talk series for the whole company. And we were able to bring in external people to talk about systemic and structural aspects of what we are trying to do. The fact that we were trying to do diversity and inclusion and equity without also clearly understanding the systems external to our organizations affecting our ability to make really changes, it was a big missing piece. Once you really understand allyship, almost all of us have some identity that allows us, that has been sort of granted a privilege to us that we can use to leverage to create more equity and fairness for the groups on the other side of that dynamic. So one of the things that I think is like you're arming people with, one, some self-reflection, and then two, you are giving them that understanding that there is no perfection.
What are some of the things that might be surprising or at least specific that you have learned to listen for and measure to know that your work is on the right track?
Well, I would say the first thing is don't clump. Like so many companies have gotten over by clumping the numbers, right? So they're making an assessment, but they're going BIPOC, right? Fine, but what about the B? What about the I? What about the, right? The Asian folks, the Latinx folks, and then also for us, it's like, what about the regions and the various office in different regions, and who are the marginalized, underrepresented groups within those particular organizations? Where do they sit? How long is the tenure? What does the succession plan look like? Where are the promotions happening? How does the compensation look? I mean, most of this is very multifaceted. And most importantly, we are finally talking about intersectionality. That's another word that we get to say now, where we're like, okay, great. You're telling me women are doing well, but you're not, I don't see this when it comes to women of color. So what is happening here with women of color? So that ability to talk about more than one identity when you're analyzing the data, I think is also really powerful, because we've been missing groups, and there have been so many ways that our strategies, as Lyndon talked about, are not specific enough to address that. I think you always have to have that double focus, maybe now what we call a triple focus, because you're looking at the numbers and you're looking at them in the way that I mentioned, but you're also looking at the experience. And that is a harder thing to figure out, to really quantify the qualitative aspects of someone's experience. And I guess the third part is on the equity side, right? So we got the numbers, representation, we've got the experience, and then we've got the equity. What needs to be righted? What things need to be righted both externally and also internally, because we've shaped so much of our systems and culture around a white male straight, kind of perspective. Yeah.